Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Food Science and Technology. I hope you guys are doing well. And now today's topic is metagenomics in food fermentation. That means application of metagenomics in food fermentation. So I just don't want to take directly deep into the topic. Let me just generalize what is metagenomics. So this is the study of genetic material recovered directly from environment samples. The broad field may also be referred to as environmental genomics, ecogenomics, or community genomics, while traditional microbiology and microbial genome sequencing and genomics rely upon cultivated clonal cultures. Early environmental gene sequencing cloned specific genes to produce a profile of diversity in a natural samples. So, coming to the introduction part, that is, culture independent technologies have helped to change the way to study food microbial ecology, leading to consider microbial population in consortia. Further evolution was stimulated by the advent of high throughput sequencing technologies in the mid 2000s, which in the past decade became ubiquitous in microbial ecology studies. High throughput sequencing entails higher sensitivity compared with traditional culture independent methods beyond being considered quantitative. The two different high throughput sequencing, that is HTS approaches, can be used. In the most commonly applied option, marker genes are amplified from genomic DNA or RNA after a reverse transcription step through PCR and sequenced. Taxonomic relevant genes are usually sequenced through this approach, leading to the description of the phylobiome, that is the taxonomic composition of the microbial community and the relative abundance of its membranes. Taxonomics or metatranscriptomic studies, no PCR is performed and total DNA or cDNA is sequenced. Besides the taxonomical composition of the community, this approach allows obtaining the abundance of all microbial genes. So, coming to the methodology, first one is RNA, that is evolutionary chronometer. This is very slow mutation rate, and this is the universal and functionally similar. It has 16 sRNA sequences used. So second one is data collection method. Here initially direct sequencing of RNA and sequencing reverse transcription generated DNA takes place. Next progress to PCR. So the third one is data storage. Here metagenomic library has two approaches. First one is function driven and the second one is sequence driven. In the functional driven, focuses on activity of target protein and clones that express a given trait, and in sequence driven relies on conserved DNA to design PCR primers and hybridization probes, gives functional information about the organisms. There are two approaches of metagenomics. In the first approach, known as sequence-driven metagenomics, DNA from the environment of interest is sequenced and subjected to computational analysis. The metagenomic sequences are compared to sequences deposited in publicly available databases such as GeneBank. The genes are then collected into groups of similar prediction function, and the distribution of various functions and types of proteins that conduct those functions can be assessed. In the second approach, function driven metagenomics, the DNA extracted from environment is also captured and stored in a surrogate host. But instead of sequencing it, scientists screen the captured fragments of DNA or clones for a certain function. The function must be absent in the surrogate host so that acquisition of the function can be attributed to the metagenomic DNA. So there are limitations of these two approaches. In the sequence driven approaches, limited existing knowledge is available. If a metagenomic gene does not look like a gene of known function deposited in the database, then little can be learned about the gene or it produced from sequence alone. In the function driven approaches, the most genes from organisms in wild communities cannot be expressed easily by a given surrogate host. Some of the general methodology used are nucleic acid extraction and environment technologies, genome and gene enrichment, metagenomic libraries, transcriptome libraries, metagenome sequencing. In nucleic acid extraction, cell extraction and direct lysis takes place. In cell lysis, chemical, enzymatic or mechanical, followed by removal of cell fragments and nucleic acid precipitation and purification takes place. And in genome enrichment, sample enrichment enhances the screening of metagenomic libraries for a particular gene of interest, the proportion of which is generally smaller than the total nucleic acid content. Stable isotope probing and 5-bromo-2-deoxyuridine labeling of DNA or RNA, following by density gradient centrifugal separation takes place. Then suppressive subtractive hybridization, phage display and DNA microarray takes place at the end. The next methodology is gene targeting. PCR is used to probe genomes for specific metabolic or biodegradative capacity. Primary design based on known sequence information is used. Amplification limited mainly to gene fragments rather than length genes, requiring additional procedures to attain the full length genes. Here, RT-PCR has been used to recover genes from environmental samples since RNA is more sensitive biomarker than DNA. Then coming to the metagenome sequence. Here, complete metagenome sequencing using large fragments of genomic DNA from uncultured microorganisms takes place. The objectives have been to sequence and identify the thousands of viral and prokaryotic species present in small environmental samples such as a gram of soil or liter of seawater. You can refer this picture for the shotgun procedure. Here, mapping, production, assembly of each clone, reconstruction, annotation takes place to get completely annotated sequence of chromosome. You can just follow the further sub-steps. So, exploring microbial functions directly in food. This shotgun metagenome or metatranscriptome sequencing offers several advantages over amplicon-based approach. Whole genomes are sequenced directly, often after fragmentation and library separation, without any prior PCR step, avoiding the possibility of amplification biases. Moreover, a picture of the entire microbial community can be obtained, tracking and comparing the abundance of bacteria and other organisms at the same time. Although the methods have to be chosen carefully in order to avoid preferential nucleic acid extractions from bacterial cells. The exceptional advantage of shotgun sequencing is the possibility to monitor the abundance of microbial activities directly in the food matrix and hence to collect information on the genetic capacity of the whole microbial community. Moreover, it is possible to recover complete or draft microbial genomes from the metagenomes, achieving in this way a strain level resolution. Although the metagenome and metatranscriptome sequencing potentially give a more higher amount of information, their cost is still substantially higher compared with the amplicon based approaches. Additional technique precautions are needed in metatranscriptomic studies. For example, when sequencing messenger RNA, that is mRNA, all efforts are needed in order to freeze the gene expression at sampling and protect mRNA from degradation by using stabilizing solutions, since microbial mRNA has extremely short half-life. In addition, mRNA is only a small percentage of the total RNA extracted from the sample, which is mainly rRNA. Therefore, a further step is usually necessary in order to reduce the amount of rRNA by bacterial or eukaryotic rRNA depletion. Finally, the bioinformatics analysis of shotgun data is much more computationally intensive and complex compared with amplicon sequencing. You can just refer this advantage and disadvantages if you want to. Then, from the above reasons, have limited the application of metagenomics and metatranscriptomics to only few pioneer studies, again mainly focused on dairies. Insights about microbial activities involved in cheese ripening process were provided. Monitoring of microbial gene expression during ripening of the camembert type by metatranscriptomics revealed the presence of microbial genes involved in flavor production from amino acids and highlighted that these activities were enhanced in the first phase of ripening. Studies provided as in-depth analysis of the cheese maturation process and allowed to better understand the metabolic activities of the different community members and their possible interactions. Indeed, cheese microbial communities were proposed as simplified model to study both microbial assembly and metabolism as affected by abiotic factors, providing a possible interesting model for understanding microbial dynamics in more complex environment. In a recent example, the evolution of bacterial activities during manufacturing and ripening of a traditional cheese made with an undefined starter was monitored by metatranscriptomics, highlighting how to manipulate microbial gene expression through modifications of the process parameters. An increase in ripening temperature was shown to foster NS-lab growth and the expression levels of genes related to proteolysis, lipolysis, and to the production of flavors for amino acids, thus promoting cheese ripening. These kinds of studies help to shed light on microbial community dynamics involved in fermentative process and suggest how microbiome responses can be modulated in order to optimize production efficiency and product quality. Then, moving towards targeting microbial genomic variability for food fermentation processes. Technologically relevant microbial species and strains are extensively used alone or in mixed cultures in industrial processes, while allowing a better control and standardization of the process. The use of selected cultures can lead to a loss of microbial diversity and flattening of the sensorial properties of the final products. Recent advances in microbial genomics are making it possible to exploit the wealth of genetic and phenotypic variability existing among food fermenting microbes. Thanks to the reduction in sequencing costs, whole genome sequencing of several strains from the same species is now a common practice. Pangenomics, it means the pool of essentially different genes found within a species of common foodborne microbes, highlighted important genetic differences which can be taken into account in order to select the best combination of species or strains for microbial industrial starters. Moreover, recently developed bioinformatics tools consent to recover microbial genomes directly from metagenomes, allowing strain level monitoring during the process and genomic comparison. Comparing the genomes of 5 Lactococcus lactis strains, that is 2 wild type of non-dairy origin and 3 dairy isolates, only about 60% of the genes were found to be shared among them, and hundreds of accessories genes were not present in the dairy isolates. So some of these coded for industrial interesting functions such as exopolysaccharide production, sugar and amino acid metabolism. Pangenomics may also help to understand microbial evolution and adaptive mechanisms to different food needs. The genome of a Lactobacillus delbruoxisub bulgaricus strain industrially used for yogurt production was compared with other collection strains of the same subspecies, and genomic traits conferring higher efficiency in industrial fermentations were highlighted. The industrial strain showed higher efficiency in, I just mentioned, that is EPS production and well-equipped stress tolerance, explaining its initial selection for yogurt production. Moreover, its effective proteolytic system clarified the cooperation mechanism with Streptococcus thermophilus. Microbial interactions may be also elucidated, coupling metagenomics and pangenomics. Characterized an undefined cheese starter culture with a long history of use. Comparative genomics of industrial strains is providing a richer and deeper understanding of the genetic composition and variability in these important microbes, promising to rapidly identify genetic loci that shape industrially significant traits. This will enable the development of genetic catalog of strains, tailoring starter composition at strain level to meet specific demands. So, coming to the conclusion part, food fermentations are often complex phenomena involving several microbial species and strains. We have learned how to identify and quantify them as well as to study their traits on basis of state-of-the-art methodologies. As discussed, the most widely used application in food microbiology is the use of amplicon-based sequencing, leading to an in-depth description of the ecosystem studies. This can be undoubtedly useful in order to understand microbial dynamics and evolution during food production, as well as to identify the presence of possible spoilers. Nevertheless, the real advance led by High throughput sequencing is the application of shotgun metagenomics and metatranscriptomics. These approaches are still underexploited in food microbial ecology. Their application to food fermentations may be extremely useful in order to explore microbial functions directly in the food matrix and understand microbial behavior in response to different process conditions. Moreover, recovering microbial genomes from the metagenomes allows to monitor the evolution of different strains during the process and to compare their genomic potential. Their tool promised to be an invaluable help to better understand and possibly tune microbial activities in order to ensure process efficiency, product quality, and safety. So we can see some food products where this metagenomics applied. These are like coffee, meat, and some dairy products like yogurt, cheese, and many more. So we're already at the end of the video, so I hope the above information was useful. If so, please do like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Don't miss the upcoming videos. Okay, then take care. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much.